judgment of a court in respect of criminal offense of which he has been found guilty in Nigeria. So that's what we're looking at today. And then joining us in the studio, we have Dr. Joseph Wanshe. He is the head of investigations at National Human Rights Commission, Benue State Office. Good morning, Dr. Wanshe, and thank you for joining us on Perspectives.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your program.
All right, and then we're also expecting to join us shortly a legal practitioner, Barrister Timothy Amatiming, who is a legal practitioner, not only that, and a public affairs analyst. He will join us any moment soon. And remember, this is an audience participatory program, so you could reach us when the time is right. That's 10 o'clock for the course. You could reach us on the number 0814-335-9292. So you take the number down so that when it is time, 10 o'clock on the dot, you call us to ask questions, to make contributions, and share experiences. All right. In the meantime, the number for WhatsApp and text messages is already active. You could send us a message right now, 0912-699-9404. That is 0912-699-9404. We also live on Facebook, Agate Radio TV 1. And then on YouTube is Agate Television. We're live. You could also listen to us online, www.agateradiotv.com. And also we are on Radio Garden. So these are the platforms with which you could join the conversation. And then you could drop your comments on Facebook as you're watching. Go ahead and drop your comments there, and then they would be considered here in the studio. All right, so to the topic of the day, I'm going to start with Dr. Wanshe. And first of all, we want to provide perspectives. So what is jungle justice?
Jungle justice is a kind of attempt at justice which is done outside the provisions of the law. It is taking the law into your hands. It is preventing someone from having his right to fair hearing, and it is a violation of somebody's right to life, freedom from injurious attacks and other forms of his rights.
All right, so basically it is a violation of human rights. That's one key word we could obtain from that definition of jungle justice from you. All right, so we want to look at the various forms in which jungle justice happen, because it's happening on a daily within the last 1 month, beginning from the recent case of the killings in the Uromi Delta State, and also, or is it Edo State?
Edo State,
yes. And then we also had some pockets of cases of jungle justice reprisals here and there. And then in Makudi, within just the last 1 week, we recorded 2 of such cases, with the recent one being yesterday morning, which was Sunday. The lynching of a boy who allegedly, or a young man who allegedly, stole a motorcycle. So we want to look at the various forms of jungle justice in our communities.
Of course, we can do that.
Okay, yeah. So what are they?
The various forms of jungle justice in our communities. There are physical attacks that are going on against persons that have stolen, perceived thieves, or alleged thieves. Then we also have those going on in our rural communities. There, when you talk about those falsely accused of witchcraft and other mystical powers, which of course these persons do not have, and then they are being lynched, killed. And jungle justice is not only when that person is killed. It is also when there are other injurious behaviors, other forms of discrimination carried out against such persons. They are all forms of jungle justice or extrajudicial justice or killings.
Okay, so before now, myself, I thought maybe jungle justice is just when somebody is killed, beaten and killed, or maybe lynched or something. But you have just told us that even when someone is beaten up, or maybe they are just discriminated against or denied some privileges, then there are also forms of jungle justice. That's well noted. All right, so now, what are the factors influencing jungle justice? Because you mentioned that it's not only cases of stealing. You also talked about some cases in the villages. So, but let's generally look at the factors that influence these extrajudicial actions by the public, members of the public.
Yes, first of all, let us look at the issue of lack of trust, public distrust in the legal processes of our country. People have this serious distrust to happen in court. So they believe to the police station, the next day they are being relieved of trust in our legal system, our legal processes. And then secondly, you know that people are experiencing serious hardship, and they're experiencing difficulties, the economic hardship, and then they kind of like take it out as a kind of way of frustration against persons who are accused. Everybody sees this person as those that are responsible for their woes, those are constitute a kind of danger to their survival, to their businesses, their business premises, their locations of business entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship and other forms of valuables. They see those persons as things that should be lynched and should be terminated immediately. So those are one of those factors there, but mainly it is due to that lack of trust in our judicial system, in our legal processes. And then, of course, there is also the issue of lack of awareness. Some persons do not know how to handle criminals. They don't know that when you make an arrest, anybody can make an arrest, of course. Everybody can make an arrest, not only the police, there are other security agencies. A private individual can also make an arrest. But as soon as that arrest is done, you're supposed to hand over that person to the police. And it's only when you see that person carrying out such an act that you can stop that person, arrest that person, and hand over the person to the police. So any private individual or private citizen can also make arrest, but you're not allowed to carry out just what you refer to as your own justice, form of justice on your own. You're not supposed to take the law into your hands. So the lack of awareness is also a problem, and other factors such as the distrust in the public judicial systems.
Okay. All right, thank you. We're now being joined by our public affairs commentator and a legal practitioner, Barrister Timothy Ama-Timi. The topic of discussion is the rise of jungle justice in our communities. Several cases may wish to provide your own perspective of jungle justice before we proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. The concept of jungle justice refers to a form of a vigilant approach where individuals or a group of persons punishing perceived offenders of crime. So that is, to my mind, what jungle justice is. Now, this phenomenon is often associated with mob action. And this is where a large group of persons gather to attack or punish individuals accused of committing crime. So just like the other panelists were saying, it's very common when you have a lack of trust in institution, and for me, and I make bold to say that it's just beyond the judiciary. We have that distrust among this perception, whether right or wrongly, that in most times when cases are reported to the police, there is this likelihood of bias on the side of the police in investigating such matters. So you imagine a situation where someone is alleged to have committed rape, and then the next second, that same person is seen in the community roaming the street. It is that belief that, when we report matters to the police, what happens to the suspect that triggers some of this mob action? And whether we pretend about it or not, it's a reality with us, where Nigeria have. And then there is a call from a highly placed personality in the society, and that person is released without thorough investigation done. We are breeding and encouraging jungle justice. in situations where you have, you know, that lack of trust in any society, and I may bold to say that some of the challenges we have with our system are traditional. What do I mean by traditional? We have situations where, because of our traditional experience over a long period of time, the English resist system of justice that we inherited as one of, I appreciate certain things because it's my field of specialization or study. But the average man on the street finds it difficult to where a matter is reported before the community at the local level. It is very easy for the parties affected to be summoned on that same day. The parties are heard on that same date, and then justice or judgment delivered on that same date. But we have an English system where matters are languishing in court for a long period of time, such that the victims sooner than later forget that justice will be done in their case. So in such scenario, come on, the average man on the street believes that when you do me wrong, the best thing is to pay you back in your own coin. And it has its own sad narrative. Because I recall pretty well there are instances where, enough of my lecturer some years back in 2005, when I was at Nasarawa State Polytechnic, you know, at that time there was this common story about, you know, missing private parts, you know, such that it was a terrible situation to come in contact with someone, because you begin to check yourself whether your private part has not disappeared. So this lecturer supervised exams on this very fateful day. And when he was done, he took his car to town, and just upon alighting, a young man jokingly said, "Oh, his private part has disappeared." That was how they now started chasing this man. He ran to the police station. But the police were overwhelmed by the pressure of the youth, who were insisting that they must release this man to them. And guess what happened at the end of the day? The very young man that his private part was missing was nowhere to be found, but this lecturer was killed by this mob, who were more determined and so violent in their approach in insisting that they must be allowed to, you know, give out justice to this lecturer. He was killed, you know, in that circumstances. So whatever perspective one looks at this issue, for the victim who are affected by the criminality notice around our community, for them, they find it as a very good way of having justice, you know, because a young man whose bike has been stolen, and he's a victim of the act of these guys, who are in the act of snatching motorcycle here and there. You make a lot of efforts and time to convince him that that is not the way to go. So we just have to reconcile these two conflicting positions and then see how we can make our society a better place. And then the issue of our emotional response, which he highlighted in his introductory remarks, is one issue that we shouldn't play with. I think the level of our emotional intelligence to a very large extent determine the way and manner we respond to issues. When you are more intellectual, you have better ways of channeling your anger or frustration rather than this approach to jungle justice. So we must, as a people, come together on a round table. I recall there was a move by Senator Dino Melaye to sponsor a bill on an act prohibiting jungle justice in Nigeria. The listener out there must appreciate the fact that killing is an offense. Killing is an offense. So under whatever pretext you kill, whether in the course of meeting out that room, and any hurriedly judgment delivered is injustice, and any hurriedly judgment delivered is injustice to the individual who suffers the consequences of that action.
All right, thank you, Barrister Martimin. So now, Dr. Wanshe, there are persons who believe, especially those whose property are stolen or who offenses are committed against them. They would, for instance, the issue that happened yesterday, the discussion is still online, and then there are people who came out outrightly to condemn it. And then there are people who believe that maybe you are speaking so. because you have not been affected, or you have not had experience with these criminals that are lynched. That is the act of jungle justice. All right, so now I'm just trying to wonder. You said one of the issues is the lack of trust in the justice administration system. So how then do we try to correct this, to make the citizenry have trust in the justice system and do the right thing as far as, arresting people and handing over to law enforcement agents is concerned?
Thank you for bringing that discussion to that point. You see, this right to fair hearing is protecting every one of us. It protects not just the person who's accused, it protects every individual. For instance, you can just be somewhere and somebody can just say, this is the person before you know. No be Gadus with this, no be Gadus. No be CMK Gadus. You don't know anything, your abbreviations are not CMK Gadus. And then the next thing is that they are now attacking you and they don't allow you to say what you want to say. They don't believe what you are saying. And they also want to have their own, to relieve their minds because of what has been hurting their minds. They just want to have that relief. And anybody at all can just be the scapegoat. So I believe that law is protecting every one of us, and we should, as a community, as a country, take advantage of that and ensure that we all know about this. So one of the ways to go about this is to ensure that we create enough sensitization that an accused person is innocent until proven guilty. And therefore, whatever harm you're carrying out against that person, you are committing an offense. If you kill such a person, it is outright murder. It's culpable homicide. You are aware of it. You know that your actions will lead to that person's death. You supported it in one way or other. You were there, you were videoing, you were encouraging, you were also supporting, acting as a witness, claiming that you know this and you know that. All those persons who are involved in jungle justice in one way or other, just accusing, pointing hands, videoing there, standing there, and supporting these persons to sharing the other persons to go on with it, they are all guilty. And even though jungle justice is carried out by a group of persons, they are all guilty, and if tried and convicted, they will all face their various forms of punishment. So one way, as you also already mentioned, we cannot run away from the fact that we need to restore our legal system. So we need to.
I'd like to cut you from there. Sorry, but there's a point you mentioned which I would want you to further highlight. You talk in regards to that.
The National Human Rights Commission is there to protect, promote, and defend the rights of every Nigerian citizen. That is our work. And we are not just focusing on a particular right or a particular human rights provision. We are always trying to raise the country's standard of legal system to an international level where it is what globally recognized, where it's globally accepted that this is the standard, this is the minimum, this is the barest minimum of. We are frequently involved in sensitization. That is why when you inform me about this opportunity to be here and to explain, to use this as also a means of enlightening the public, I could not shy away from that despite my tight schedule this Monday morning. So we do our sensitization activities. We carry out sensitization on radio, in published and print material. We always engage with the public. So even the issue of jungle justice now, we also want, is a case that's always, you notice that one of the solutions to that is that divide that exists between the law enforcement and the general public. Some persons believe that a good Samaritan, believe that he was a good Samaritan taking a lost child to a police station and say that I found this boy. I agree that he ran away from home, doesn't know his whereabouts, but he wants to get back to where his parents are, and he was not trafficked. But now, toward this actually to a point where he could not answer certain questions. Why did you find him? What were you yourself doing outside there this night? How come? And several. So that is how the public perceives the police. That is how they perceive the law enforcement. They just see them as people who are out to meet members of the public to extort, to find guilt where there is no guilt. So they are afraid of getting it. So the police need to do a lot of work, just like the National Human Rights Commission. We need to close that divide. We have several cases reported to us. We know that these are criminal cases that persons should not naturally have gone to the police, but they come to the National Human Rights Commission. And then when we begin to say, why don't you take this to the police? Know that at that point, they're telling you that if police are involved in this, I better just lose out on this whole matter. I better leave this whole matter. I don't care how it goes again. Whether my rights are violated anywhere else, I don't care how I pursue it further as far as the police are involved. So the police need to do a lot of work in trying to learn their own image and also get in touch, close that divide that exists between them and members of the public, and that's a perception up towards the police, the legal system, and we are involved in constant sensitization. So those are one of our ways of.
Okay, Doctor, I think we should be better using a law enforcement agent that face one. I think police is just one of them.
Police is one of them.
It's
yes.
just one of them. So I think we should be using the word law enforcement agent, so that it won't be personal.
No, it's not
something
personal.
like that. Yeah.
We have the police are our friends, and we are all working in trying to achieve the same goals.
All right, thank you very much. So there's something you started talking about, but I will get to remind you that. All right, later on. So for now, over to you, Barrister Amatimi. We're looking at what are the legal protections that exist in Nigerian law to prevent or punish acts of jungle justice.
All right, we have copious provisions in our laws that protect all citizens, all persons who are in Nigeria. In fact, Section 33 of the Constitution provides for right to life. So if there's a right of every citizen, every person in Nigeria to live, and that right can only be taken away by an order of court. So only in the execution or pursuance to the execution of the court judgment that one's life can be taken. In fact, we have a case of Bello vs. AG, Oyo State, where a person was convicted, and while his appeal was pending, he was executed. And the apex court frowned at that action and duplicated the conduct of the persons who executed that person. This is someone who is convicted. Why his appeal was pending? Because he challenged his conviction. He was executed during the pendency of his appeal. Now, the apex court frowned at that action and condemned it in its totality. So that tells you how sacrosanct the life to life is. And in fact, the more you think you have a right to live and enjoy your life, the next person, your next door neighbor, the next person on the street equally have a right to live. Now that right, under no circumstances, can be taken away except pursuant to an order of court warranting the taking of the life of an individual. In our religious even circle, do you even have right over the other person's right? Who are you to sit in judgment against your fellow brother or sister when he or she has done a wrong? So we should be law-abiding citizens. We should be people who respect the laws of this country. Under the African Charter and human rights, these rights are replicated under our laws, and they have been domesticated in Nigeria. So under no circumstances, you as an individual, you have a right to take the life of another person. In fact, even the child you give birth to, you do not have the right to take the life of that child. Because if you do, you will be charged under Section 221 of the Penal Code laws of Benue State. So Nigerians must begin to appreciate some of these things. Because I know that illiteracy is one thing that strives this jingle justice dimension to it. Because someone who is very educated will have a different and a rational way of looking at issues. When someone is accused of an act, of course, can we hear from this person? By the time you get some explanation, not under torture, because the state of affairs, in fact, most of these jingle justice, events or incidences, they don't even afford the accused person, the suspect, the right of reply. It's more of a hostile questioning section, where in fact you even admit things you have never done. I have handled a matter where, a suspect under police investigation, after a series of torture,
admitted things that even took place before he was born. So, for fear of one's life, you may even admit things you have not done. Like the instance that happened, I think, yesterday. Based on the narrative in the public domain space, we were told that this guy was found with a stolen bike. The person that was mocked and killed was found with a stolen bike. Now, there are possible narratives to this whole narrative. It is possible that he bought that stolen bike from the thief who was not even identified at that point in time. Now,
or was even given to.
Exactly, or maybe a friend. Just, please help me buy something here with this bike.
You can check that bike and maybe discover that is not even the bike.
Did you get the point?
Maybe the girl that identified him, maybe it's his ex-girlfriend or something, other motivations behind. You don't know. So it can happen anywhere. I'm not saying that this particular case, that is where it was, but it could happen.
Yes, we're just saying maybe.
It could have any possibility.
And the possibility, if I have personal issues with you, there are ways people can frame you up. In Nigeria today, maybe it's not possible anyway, but the two of us are battling over one girlfriend. And then, this guy is getting more attention more than me. So what do I get him paid dearly for? Being smarter than me or having a better attention in that relationship more than me. So I can easily frame you up. And then Jingle Justice setting does not provide you the opportunity of presenting your case. It doesn't. And it's not healthy for our system. If we begin, just because in Nigeria today, we hardly review or revisit some of these cases. If after thorough investigation, being it forensic or whatever, we may be shocked that some of the victims of Jingle Justice may be innocent people. I'm not saying that some of them may not be guilty of the alleged offense, but come on, as decent people in the 21st century, we should be human and decent enough to afford people opportunity to at least express themselves, at least state their case. They have the right to be represented victim of Jingle Justice. All of us are potential victims. Today, it may be that person who has been silent and then he's dead, he can't even speak for himself. Tomorrow, who may be the next victim? Who may be the next victim? Just imagine this scenario that, people have robbed a particular area and coincidentally, while the robbers are escaping, you find yourself within that vicinity. And then because everyone is running helter-skelter, you are it is natural in your instincts for you to equally run to protect yourself from whatever harm which you perceive. You may not even have seen it. But in the bit of running, what if you are mistaken to be one of the robbers who robbed that area? And then what becomes of you?
God forbid.
So I am just addressing those who perpetrate this act of illegality in our community and feel they are doing our system any good. You are not doing Nigeria any good. In fact, if we even investigate some people who are even into act of criminality, there are a lot of very useful information that will help our law enforcement agents in getting to untie some other complex criminal investigations they embark upon. And for men, just because our system seems not to be reformative in nature, it's more of a punitive system. There are guys who are into act of criminality that if we're utilized, will be asset to this nation. What if we identify these guys and see how we can reform them? And then reforming them, availing them the opportunity of acquiring skills that will be useful to us as a nation. Let's just assume, I'm not conceding that they are even guilty. What of the bad boys? Why can we reform them? And the annoying aspect of the whole thing is that the poor man who meets out this Jingle Justice to his fellow man is angered and frustrated by the harm done to him or her as a result of the alleged act in question. However, we have leaders who have looted us blind in this nation. We have political leaders who are still looting us blind. But we can't even transfer that aggression to them. We even defend them. We have developed this culture of celebrating the big thieves and then going after the smaller thieves. But we should, as a people, begin to think humanly. We should, as a people, begin to think rationally. That's the best way to develop a nation. And jingle justice is not the way to go. And until we begin to get people behind this act, we have seen videos, we have seen people film this incident. It is time we begin to learn that jingle justice is not the way to go. But as we give blind eye to some of the perpetrators of this jingle justice, as we even begin to encourage them, motivate them in our community, then we are heading towards anarchy, and I pray we do not get to that point.
All right, thank you, Barrister Amatimin. So over to you, Dr. Wanshe. He spoke about people in this act, and the truth is that some of them are actually caught in the act of whatever they were accused of, and then other factors like you did mention earlier, from blasphemy, from alleged witchcraft accusation, alleged criminality, and a whole lot of those issues. There are people that actually commit these laws, and then there is that person that will tell you, even right now as we are sensitizing, there's somebody who may be saying they are just speaking English there. They don't know what we go through in the hands of these criminals and a whole lot of that. So that is their own viewpoints. But then if we first of all, I want to know, when a mob kills someone suspected of a crime, what step should maybe the relatives of that person or maybe someone concerned could take in trying to get justice for the person lynched or killed?
Murder. They have killed an innocent person. Is to carry out that you commit this act as a group does not absolve any of you of that act, which is murder, which is culpable persons. When identified, they should be arrested and tried the usual way as killing somebody, no matter whether you are accused, that person was accused or not. So it's the usual way is murder, and they should be arrested. And that deal does not open the way for taking the law into our hands, for anybody to take the law into their hands. It is inviting chaos. Jungle justice is not justice at all. It's actually an act of inviting more chaos into our environment. It does not solve problems. It robs us of that, even that legal small justice system that we have, which we are complaining about that does not exist. If we allow jungle justice, there's going to be total chaos, and there's going to be total breakdown of law and order, whereby there is going to be total insecurity. Nobody is going to feel safe in our environment again. When you go out on the street, you cannot feel safe. Whatever you're coming out from your car, you cannot feel safe. Whether you're driving in your car, you don't know when you're carrying an expensive thing, your handset, and you could be accused of that handset is stolen handset. Where did you get this handset from? Just like that. And the issue there is that they now accuse you. They also act as the judges. They pass the sentence and they also execute on the spot. That is not fair. There's nothing fair about that form of justice. So therefore, we should fight against it by all means. There is no way it can be. It's acceptable.
All right. Thank you very much. We should condemn it in all its ramifications. That's awesome. All right. So now Barrister Amatimin, we want to look at the consequences of for the justice system when citizens take laws into their own hands. What consequences could it be?
Now, the consequences are legion in nature, and I make bold to say that, number one, you undermine the justice system and not productively wise for our economy. It is not healthy for our system in any way. And more so that the consequences of participating in this illegal act is death sentence. I keep on hammering this point. And until our law enforcement agents step up their game in arresting perpetrators of jingle justice and then making a public show of their final conviction, others may not be deterred from indulging in this act. It has been happening around us. It has been happening repeatedly. And it seems we are just watching this narrative. It is not the way to go. And all well-meaning citizens of this country must condemn that act. In fact, I make bold to say that we don't even need a law as it is to stop jingle justice. It is just the political will on the part of our leaders to act for culpable homicide punishable with death for anyone that intentionally, knowingly caused the death of someone. Now, it doesn't matter. It is not even an excuse if you caught that person committing an offense, because the law, it's not for you as a witness to begin to constitute yourself into a tribunal or a court, and then you do your investigation, and after your investigation is done, you testify against the accused person, and then you pass judgment and execute that judgment. In fact, even in our prison today, we have people who are standing on our death row who have been convicted, but because the various governors in the states where those offenses were committed have not signed their death warrant, they are still in our prison awaiting when they will be executed. So why should we be in a hurry if truly the person committed the offense, and then you caught the person right-handed, and you have all the evidence and there are witnesses to testify, then kindly hand over that person to the police or the relevant law enforcement agent to do their investigation, arraign that person in court. Now, we must as a people begin to show interest. It is not just enough for you to report the matter to the police and then go to sleep. How about following it up to ensure that your matter or your case reported or incidented at the police station is followed to the letter and the right measures are followed in arraigning such persons in court? Now, we must equally look in the direction of reforming our police force. We must seriously look in that direction. At the moment, the public perception of our law enforcement agent is not healthy. It's not just for the police. Do I feel comfortable seeing an army officer at a checkpoint? There are instances where, for instance, because you are making call at a checkpoint, you are harassed, tortured, and maltreated as a citizen of this country. Now, of what security threat is that call to the checkpoint is what I'm yet to come to terms with. Now, we have incidents until we begin to correct some of these incidences. We are very far from developing as a nation. And that is why I must commend Aget Radio for creating the platform, inviting us to speak to Nigerians, to speak to the audience out there, to appreciate some of the intricacies, because some of these people do some of these things without knowing the consequences of the action that will follow if they are arrested in that act, or after thorough investigation, they are identified and prosecuted. Some of them do not know. So, you, the listener out there, encouraging, abating jingle justice, you are equally criminally liable, because you will be culpable for criminal conspiracy, participating in it, encouraging it. For the man who brings fuel or lighter or matches to facilitate the death of a brother or a sister who is accused of committing an offense, you are equally guilty of murder if you are arrested and then investigated and tried. So Nigerians must appreciate this. And I keep on repeating, we must make scapegoats for practitioners of this illegality. For those who encourage jingle justice, we must equally follow up such matters. And I'm calling on the Nigerian Police Force, the Civil Defense and other relevant security agencies in Benue State to harness some of these videos and have a way of tracing and identifying persons that are captured in some of these videos where some of these illegal acts were committed, so that they will be identified and investigated and they will have a day in court to account for their action. It is by so doing that will correct this anomaly in our society.
All right. Doctor, you want to say something?
Yes, some of these, what you call jungle justice, and our haste to take the law into our hands, and our avoidance of the legally constituted means of handling justice processes, it's barbaric, and there is linked to also our cultural beliefs. You know, there is the contestation between the legal system and our traditional ways. For instance, now we still have societies whereby somebody accused maybe of theft is taken to a traditional doctor, Babalawo.
A shrine.
Yes, and then there, without evidence, that whatever is pronounced as whoever is pronounced as guilty, that person must admit to that guilt, whether there is no evidence or not. And then the person also goes ahead to face the consequences. This person may be innocent, but because the Babalawo there or the witch doctor has just said that he or she is guilty, of course, the whole society believe in that system, that form of justice, that form of legal procedure. So their own traditional legal procedure. So whatever that person now says from that moment on is not acceptable. Whatever evidence they bring forward is not acceptable. Whether another person comes with that stolen item is unacceptable. And from that moment on, there's also what you do, the cleansing. That person has to go around the community naked, dancing, and carrying whatever he or she stole on his head around while that person is being beaten. These are practices that exist in our primitive societies, and these places are also distant from the urban areas, and you find them occurring. All this acquisition of witchcraft, suffering this, we get those complaints from those hinterlands, from the distant places, the remote areas of the state, from the local government areas, from the villages. So also is the issue of adultery. Up to today, we are still having cases whereby a husband can, just on his own, without evidence, without having found his wife, having gotten the proof that his wife is cheating on him, and just accuse her of adultery. And from that moment on, is to go and swear an oath. She has to swear that oath, and she admits to guilt, and then also now goes ahead to face the consequences. Her husband has died, for instance, a widow. And then the next thing is that it's automatically assumed or believed that this woman killed her husband. And so therefore, she must carry out cleansing. She must prove that she is guilty before being proven innocent. She has to prove, yes, that she did not kill her husband. So therefore, there are various traditional means of proving that she did not kill her husband. And those various ways, they are all abuses to her right. They are undignifying. She has to drink maybe water that she's not supposed to drink, water from that is used to wash the dead body. She has to live with the dead body in her room. She has to carry the husband body to a certain point. She has to stay outside the home, has to shave her head, wear black clothes or certain clothes given to her, and stay in a particular room. And while her property is being shared, while the property her husband left is being shared by the brothers of that husband until that is done before she's now set free from those places. These are all forms of abuses of rights which are not legally acceptable and which violate the rights of those victims. And they are forms of jungle justice that we do not identify because they are hidden inside what we refer to as tradition. So if we must fight jungle justice, we have to go back to those areas, so we don't have to overlook what is happening to our tradition. We have to look at what has been happening over time and disabuse our minds of these ways of doing things. That is my submission.
All right, Dr. Wanche, again, I would want to ask you, how serious are these issues in Benue State, particularly?
The issues are serious, and as I noted earlier, they occur mostly in the remote areas where you find people still relying on traditional ways of settling disputes, of settling issues of perceived injustice or perceived wrongdoing. Those are mostly remote areas there. And the fact that those places also have the law far from them, those places are under-policed. And in those places, again, you will find some demi-lords, some kind of semi-warlords springing up in those areas because there's a vacuum of the law in those places. There's you find somebody there who has established himself as the chief without not a traditional chief, but just a kind of like chief. Yes, he has boys who can go beat you up, and when there's an offense in that area, you report to him, and he will now decide who is guilty, not guilty, you can tell his boys, go and bring me this person. The person will come. They'll go and bring that person, whether in whatever condition, whether he's ready to come or not, just bring that person up. Say, sit down there, kneel down there. We have heard that this is what you did. Oh yeah, hold this Bible. If the key turns, this is you are guilty. The key does not turn, then you are guilty. And then you are not guilty. So these are the ways they carry out their own forms of judgment. And the next thing is that you find them also meting out whatever punishment they consider. So it's very wrong. It's very wrong in the sense that even those offenses, it doesn't say that this person here stole a trouser, let us hang him right now, let us burn him here. The law too has its own various degrees of punishment. The more grievous it is, but in the more involved you are with it. Maybe you're not the one that stole something, but you happens to be found in your house, or maybe found with somebody found on you or close to you, or maybe kind of like get involved in it in one way or other. Maybe you kind of facilitated it. Maybe like you wrote a receipt somewhere you knew about it, and then automatically you are totally innocent. You didn't know. And then the next thing is that somebody has decided you got to die because he is the one policing that area. He's the law. In fact, he's the law in that area. He's collecting taxes in that area, levies, and mounting roadblocks wherever he wants, and deciding who lives in that society or not. So we need to go back. The law needs to extend its hand into those hinterlands, needs to extend its hands into those remote areas, and all those places need to be policed. We have abandoned those places, and the vacuum there, they said that nature abhors vacuum, and the vacuum in those areas is why we are having those issues occurring there. So the National Human Rights Commission is getting those reports, getting those complaints, and they are mostly coming from those places.
Thank you very much. Barrister Martin, he did speak about the vacuum in law enforcement in those hinterlands. And not only that, even in this town, in this Makurdi, there are times, once in a while, I would have to close here, maybe past 12 or something like that. And then when you are going, you get not to see, not even a vigilante person on the road that midnight. And you know that at this time you are on your own. Anything that happens, you are on your own. So that brings us to the question of, are law enforcement agents enough to provide justice for Nigerians?
Basically, we are understaffed.
Okay.
We are under-policed in this country. How many police officers do we have in Nigeria? And what is the standard required? Pay a police officer and then the ratio in the population of the citizens. Now, we are very, very far behind. In fact, if there is a chaotic situation in some of our local government, I make bold to say that we may not have in some local government, we may not have up to 20 police officers policing an entire local government. And the location of some of the police stations or divisional police headquarters in our local government makes it practically impossible or difficult to address some security breaches or challenges timeously in most given situations. So you have a situation where, for instance, in my local government, you have a police station at Teagbaragba, and from my own village to Teagbaragba is a very long distance. So just imagine if there is a security concern or there is a problem, how then do we get to reach Teagbaragba with the very bad state of our roads? And then by the time you get there, maybe they have an immobile vehicle that cannot move, or maybe a spoilt one, or maybe you are required to fuel the car. So when he or she reports a matter to the police station, either to buy or open file, which money is involved, and then you buy paper for the matter to be investigated, and then maybe there are other visits that are to be done to the crime scene, then you have an issue with someone. And the person reported into the police, and my client was asked to mobilize the police, and I said no. My client cannot mobilize you to investigate him. So government must equally be very serious with founding the police. Because at the moment, the police are not properly founded, or a law enforcement agent, what is the budget for them? So when they are not properly funded, they fall back to the people. And that is extortion in itself. And
I've noticed this very disturbing trend of extortion of our roots. These are jingle justice, if you ask me. People are extorted on a daily basis. And then when they complain, they ask you to bring evidence. Then you want citizens to go filming police officers who collect bribe on the road. And these are people who are armed. So until we begin to do what is right in this country, for a very long time, we have become so accustomed to some illegal act, to some abnormal behavior in our communities and our societies, such that we see nothing wrong about it. It is just for either the sensitive person to adjust and suit the order of the day. So when you begin to complain of certain things, they ask you, where is this one coming from? Are you not in this country? So the people are rather surprised that you are worried about a particular trend that shouldn't be allowed to grow. So we need to bring justice closer to the people. That's just what I'm saying. Let's bring justice closer to the people. Let's police the needed areas in this country. And every year we hear about recruitment from the police force. But we don't have the needed police officers with the needed training to police this nation. God forbid, if a policeman stops you and then you begin to blow good English, you are in trouble. Because lo and behold, maybe someone managed to write SSC or WACS for that person, and then either he has one politician or uncle who got the person enlisted into the Nigerian police force. So such persons are easily intimidated with the quality of English you speak. So you receive the beating of your life when you confront them and challenge them on certain civil issue that shouldn't even be the concern of the police. So we have a lot of issues that we need to engage on. That's why when I see people fighting over politicians here and there, I am worried. There are more serious issues that are affecting us on a daily basis. When funds are allocated to the police, do they really get to them for them to carry out their operations? And are the police doing their job? Because that lack of trust, in fact, when people begin to accuse the judiciary on some judgments, the problem begins with the investigation. It is not at the point of trial and judgment. Because when the police fail to do their thorough investigation, the judges will not do otherwise. The judges can only act on evidence brought before them. Just a practical example, I witnessed this scenario while I was serving in Bauchi State. Someone was killed at a scene. The IPO who investigated the matter never visited the scene. There was no post-mortem examination of the corpse to ascertain the cause of death. Then the victim there, whose person or relation was killed, feels strongly that this is the person that killed my brother, only for the court to say, no, there are no substantial evidence. There are no cogent evidence strong enough for us to convict the suspect. So at that point in time, the blame moves to the judiciary, which is not true. So we must train our police officers to be very accommodating and friendly. They must be trained to be very accommodating and friendly. In advanced country, when you see little children running to the police when they are unsafe, but can you run, can as an average Nigerian run to the police station when you get to a...
So we need to pause a little bit. So sorry, I would give you the chance to continue later on. But now it's about time we start taking the calls, and that will begin just after this break. Is Perspectives on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi. We are looking at the rise of jungle justice in our communities. And in the studio with us is Dr. Joseph Wanshe, the head of investigations, National Human Rights Commission, Benue State Office, and Barrister Timothy Amatimin, legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. My name is Fanen Kwan, and it's about time you join us in the conversation. Ask your questions, make your contributions, and of course share experiences with us. The number to do that is 0814-335-9292. That is 0814-335-9292 for calls only. And then you can send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 09404 for SMS and WhatsApp only. So let's get our first caller of the day. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and what's your location?
Good morning, sir. I am Mr. Innocent Ako. I'm calling from Naka Road, around Command Secondary School.
All right, Innocent Ako, go ahead.
Okay, my little contribution or take on this issue of jungle justice is that, number one, I would like to say that I don't support it at all. Because sometimes when somebody is killed before investigation, you even prevent the opportunity of even arresting more criminals. Because sometimes if you arrest a particular person who participates in it, one too will be arrested. But by the time you kill, maybe it has not happened to him, it has happened to me. There was a time my motorcycle was stolen around at Inikwi Street. I just went into a compound in less than 10 minutes. I came out, I couldn't find it again. That was 2008. And then I was in BSU, and I'm also walking. So I was trekking. Sometimes I was trekking from high level to BSU, come back in the night, trek to my office. So I was pained. I saw the consequence, the pain in losing a motorcycle. But still, I will not encourage jungle justice. If anybody is caught, he should be taken to the police for proper investigation, and then the person will be charged to court, and there the appropriate punishment will be meted out to such a person. And police also should ensure that anybody taken to them, they should ensure that the person is charged to court. Because sometimes when a criminal or somebody alleged to have committed a crime is released back without any punishment, some of them come back and then they begin to look at those who even arrested them and took them to the police, and they begin to attack them in the community. So they should ensure that such people are taken to court and then are charged appropriately, and then the appropriate punishment is meted out to them by the courts. By so doing, such people will not come back to go into crime again. Then those who are involved in this jungle justice, like one of the discussants has said, they should be arrested, they should be traced, and then they should face the consequence of carrying out such acts. Okay. In fact, in the area of witchcraft, that one is very, very common in our society. And then there are even some people who ignorantly will admit that they were the one. If somebody died from town, like our community, the issue of religion is a problem. If anybody died, there must be somebody who has killed that person. Somebody that has died clearly of maybe typhoid. They will say another old person has killed it, and the person will say, "We admit." And before you know it, they begin to attack. And all those who carry out such attacks should also be. Okay. Thank you.
All right, it is just a 60-second guest and callers on Agit Radio, this station. So when you call, you just have 60 seconds to make your point. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and location?
My name is Friday Ogbodo.
All right.
From International Market Road.
Okay, go ahead, Friday.
On the topic of discussion today, I think one of the last incidents also happened around the International Market here. I want to lend my voice in this note. First of all, it is wrong for anybody to go to steal something that belongs to another person. That's one. The second thing again is that people and the youth especially should be discouraged from criminal activity. It's one of the bases why you see people taking law into their hand, taking the lives of others because of crime. The young man that was killed by stealing bike actually confessed that he stole 2 other bikes and he will make sure that they are recovered. But in the process, the justice at the jungle side happened to him. It is quite very unfortunate. Such act is actually heinous and it should be discouraged from our society. Furthermore, on this note, I want to talk to the system also. Usually when people are caught for crimes, response from the police authorities to arrive at scenes of crimes usually are late. The justice would have been done in a jungle way before they arrived. And if you look at the police system, if you go there, they will tell you they don't even have vehicle to be able to move to the place. So that's failure of the system and the policing. So Nigerian government should ensure that police are adequately equipped to be able to respond to calls when issues of such are brought before them. The other system is, the legal system is also one of the things that discourage people to encourage jungle justice. You take these people who are caught in this act to the court, the lawyers will come, defend them, scatter the case. At the end of the day, the person who stole that is known and confessed in the public. Before you know, he's seen outside parading himself, and then the society is more endangered. And then that's one of the reasons why you see people doing jungle justice, because the lawyers, the judicial system should also look to enhance how speedy these systems are done.
Okay.
I experienced one of the case. Somebody came to break my shop. The person was arrested. We kept going to court, forth and back. Every day is adjournment. Every day is adjournment. When me with that experience, at the end of the day, I stopped going to court because the case was not forthcoming. This is one of the things that lead to people encouraging jungle justice.
Okay, thank you very much, Friday Ogbodo. You have made your point already.
Let me put my submission.
Okay.
Please, to the lawyers there, we know even when the judgment comes from the court, lawyers will still come to say it didn't come well. I want to encourage lawyers to help the system. When people are committed crime and they are brought before the court, they should see to that justice is also done to the person, because the person paid you to defend them does not mean you should use your expertise and frustrate the process of putting that person behind bar so that the society becomes a better place. That is my submission this morning. Thank you very much to the guests in the studio and to all Nigerians.
Thank you very much, Friday Ogbodo.
Crime and not go into criminality.
Do have a great day. Thank you. 0814-335-9292 is the number for you to call and be a part of the program. Alternatively, you can send us a WhatsApp or text message to 0912-699-9404. Hello.
Good morning, NS Ate.
My name is Fanen Kwanum. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Oh, sorry for that. Fanen Kwanum, good morning.
Thank you. What's your name and location?
Yes, I am Takuruku Anyamazinga, calling from Abetemba Yion, Boko local government.
All right.
Permit me to use 60 seconds to put on what I have to put on.
Go ahead.
Yes, I must say our judicial system is not working. If at all they are working, all these things must have been curtailed. To add on it, our legislatures are not helping us. People feel that have failed them. So they are committing this act just to fulfill their one of these laws step up for our pride, and this thing will be curtailed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Taku.
My name is David from calling from OGRE.
Pardon your name again?
My name is Tehidi calling from OGRE.
David.
Tehidi.
All right, Tehidi.
Yeah. Oh, about let me tell you something about this jungle justice. People are blaming lawyers, and they are forgetting about police. Police, they are the most people that they are the ones that they should be incident with somebody like a while back. Last month, we arrested somebody here in my area, Ogera Street, behind Benin Hotel. We caught this with the bike, and they handed them over to anti-Curtis, because anti-Curtis, they are not far from us here. Before you know, they handed over this man. When did they take him to court for justice? Those are the things. That's why they will just take it and take action on their own, of which is not right. I know. I don't agree with jungle justice. At least for once.
All right.
Thank you. That's my submission.
Thank you very much, Tehide, for your submission.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
0814-335-9292. That is the number for calls. And then people are calling the other number, but unfortunately,
Morning.
what's your name and what's your location?
I'm Kwada Vincent calling from North Bank, Makadi.
All right, Vincent, go ahead and make.
Community can be stressed due to a lack of lack of trust from the security agents. Because most of the times when somebody committed an offense or stole somebody's property, once they will arrest the person and hand over to the police, after 2 or 3 days, you see the person roaming the street again. So people feel like when you arrest a criminal and you hand over to the police, nothing will be done. So the best way they can do is to take the law into their hands. So if the security agents can live up to their expectation, once they arrest somebody who committed an offense, they should take the person where it's supposed to be, and not the next day. There was a guy that was arrested in the camp, this Ichua camp, that was accused of maybe kidnapping or a kind of he stole a child. And after some days, 2 or 3 days, I saw the guy moving around again. So what do you expect the citizen to do when such things happen again? So the security agents should live up to their expectations.
Security agents should live up to their expectations. Thank you very much, Vincent Kwaza, for calling in. And again, we must also establish that it is not in all situations that the accused actually committed a crime. So if the police found out that the person is innocent, he can be set free, and I think it's nothing wrong about that. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, this is Obe. I'm calling all the way from Abuja, Use Zone 4.
Okay, Obe, go ahead and make your submission.
Ode.
Okay, Ode.
Ode.
Yes, sir, I've got your name. Go ahead and make your submission.
Yeah, it's totally condemnable and just go justice. But I think bodies that they call on the checkpoint. I'm not a security personnel, but I think we need to condemn it. That when you're traveling on the road, courtesy demand that when you get close to a checkpoint, you shouldn't be making call while the securities are working on their duty position. I think we should also condemn that act, that citizens should give respect to that position when they get to that point, and then to avoid any kind of curiosity. And I want to look at the issue of, employer to employee. A staff that you employ that you know that that staff will close duty very late in the night. There is no security you provide for that staff. No boss, no driver, nobody to convert he or that person after closing duty back to the home. It is not responsible for the whole security alone to do that. You that employ that citizen should be able to look into the preservations of that person, their staff. I think we need to call on that. Certain time you're going on your own, that there's nobody around. I think we have to really caution some of these employers also that they need to really look into the welfare and the cares of their staff, so that they will not also give room to the attack of the vulnerable ones. And having said that, by allowed, I want to really call on our citizens in Nigeria as a whole that we have a very big challenge in our law. We are good in making the law, but we are not good in implementing the law. I wish all the best. Thank you so much.
All right. I hope, Ode, you were not referring to my example, so because usually I close with the staff boss.
I did not refer to. I did not refer to your example. I'm referring to the hotel.
It's okay.
I'm in the federal capital. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Do you have
what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I have made case over this matter even in Kasuna. So
okay.
I've made over this case as far as Kaduna State.
All right.
Do you know I've lost a close friend of mine because of this issue? That is what I'm talking about. Why did the Jungles, when they were shouting on the law and they were shouting, I said, thief, they ran into him and they thought that he was the one that committed that crime. They burned him down immediately down there because he was an innocent person, because he wasn't from the duty on a very late period.
Okay.
I hope you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that was why I made that submission of that.
Clearly.
Case. Thank you so much.
Do you have a great day, Mr. Ode? 0814-335-9292. Alternatively, SMS and WhatsApp 0912-699-9404. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's your name and where is your location?
I'm John Aduku. I'm calling from Makodi.
All right, John Aduku, go ahead.
Yes, the issue of jungle justice is the fault of the our government itself. And arrest a criminal, you hand them over to law enforcement agencies, and they will not take action. The next thing, maybe after 2-3 days, the person will be released. And the most thing that is worrisome is the bribery and corruption in this country. By the time you arrest somebody, take them to the police, they will go there, bribe, and bring the person out. About 2 days later, the person, you see him, he will even knock at your door. Look, I am out. You cannot do anything. That thing is very, very annoying. That is why the people are taking laws into their hands. Okay, look at what is happening now in Benue. I think for the past, how the police, they are managing them. Where are they keeping them? The prisons is filled to the brim. So, what is happening to our judicial system when in a whole state that the court is not working? Where will you keep, who is going to charge or discharge a criminal? This is the problem we are facing. The government should wake up. The government should do something and stop this jungle justice. Because, this and that, and before you know. So, the government should come out with a very powerful system, a law and order that people will obey. You are on convoy. So there is a traffic light that stops you. And somebody, because you are carrying another big person, you don't obey the convoy, you will pass. By the time you knock somebody down, you that you were knocked down, you are guilty because a big man is in the vehicle. The law does not provide for citizens like that. Okay. Let the right course be followed. This is just my little contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, John Aduku, for your contribution. 0814-335-9292. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
My name is Solomon. I'm from Niman.
Okay, Solomon who?
Solomon Yomasi.
Okay.
I'm calling from Niman Assembly Quarters.
All right.
I want to ask a question before I go further. Are those people Fulani headsmen, not jungle justice?
Armed headers who prefer that name so that we don't you don't get our station into problem.
Okay, it's all right.
We are being regulated, so.
Okay, it's okay. But
So,
all of the sudden, like in my place, with security men are not really trying because, as people are saying, they correct bribe, and that bribe is thing that is killing us and is bringing jungle justice. In my village, exactly the Amukun local government, those security men will go and correct bribe from those people and left them. They'll be killing innocent people, doing such of nonsense, destroying yam, cassava, and everything. So if those guys now, with anger, move to say they are not helping matters, they have the money in access. They dig soccer well and dump it inside instead of building companies or business places so that those boys or youth will be investing in those places. They are not doing so. They'll be burying those money in the ground, doing one or two things or collecting bribes.
Well,
so
that's
we'll
your
only
allegation?
ask God. Yes, we'll only ask God to forgive us. That is the only thing I have to say. If
All
God
right.
intervenes,
Amen. Amen.
we'll
Thank
be
you
free.
very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. And God is merciful. He will certainly forgive us. 0814-335-9292. That's the number. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Jason Dow.
Tifa.
You see, issue of jungle justice, how can I put it? It's very obvious someone should take somebody's life away. no matter how the person do offend, they should be caught him, give the law enforcement agency to try him or her. But taking law into our hands is not good. And one of the guys there has said it. Our top government functioning, they do divert or they do things that are not good in the society, but we still pressing them. And this thing, but a common man will do something, you see how people will be angry. So this thing is causing a lot of problem in our society. Let us stop this jungle justice of the thing. I think by that we'll have a better nation. That is my contribution this morning.
All right, thank you very much, Tefa, for your contribution.
It's my pleasure. Have a nice day. Yeah.
08143359292. So maybe we also should try to be the rich man so that we.
It's Emeka Anyos from North Bank.
All right, Emeka.
There is intotal. Because the moment more information about those that aided them to do those things, it is when you interrogate the person, he will tell you those who participated in that thing. And it is within that period you can get more people arrested. But if you kill somebody at that particular time, the person, other people will escape. And let me tell you one funny thing. You see those people who kill quickly, some of them who set fire on somebody who has committed crime are the same people, because they don't want somebody to point them out that you are involved. They will quickly make sure that they eliminate that person so that the topic will end. Nobody will suspect the other person.
That's true.
Please, don't kill. And kill, take that, let that person tell the people who sends them. There must be some bourgeois who send them to do those type of things. You see, in most of these insecurities, you see today, there are people who sponsor them. Take for example today, how do people get arms? How do they get bullets? How do they get all these things? And you see them with bullets, soldier bullets, police bullets and other things. How do those boys get those things? To go robbery, going kidnapping and other things. It is time for you to investigate those things and know the proper people who have given them those things and sanction those people.
All right.
So by the time they kill those people, you see that the matter ends here and nobody takes them off.
Emeka,
so
you
I am
have
of
made
the
your
opinion,
point. Thank you
good
very
justice
much.
is not good. But let us do the needful. Thank you.
Thank you and have a great day. Well, you raised a point there. You know, rifle, it's very expensive. From what the research we have online, rifle is very expensive. But then you see nobody, you know, poor people that can barely afford a square meal, you know, having expensive rifles. Where do they get the money? So I think it's a point to note from there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good morning, sir. It's morning here.
Okay, this is Mr. Tony Babu calling you from Naka Road.
All right.
I greet the guests in the house.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we just relegated all those things to all this burning stuff and all of that. But I think jungle justice should be taken afar from all those politicians and the judiciary. Because how can you imagine somebody that they just contracted a contract of billions, and those people, they will siphon all those things. And at the end of the day, you will see, hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
At the end of the day, it will affect the entire community. They will not have access to water, and they will get ill. It's jungle justice. You will go to court when you have all the evidence that takes to prosecute somebody. At the end of the day, those people, they will get bribed and free the criminals away. So I think in as much as we don't like...
Hello, Mr. Babu.
Much as we don't, yes, in as much as we don't support the jungle justice, but I think we should go far than thinking of burning people just on the road. Thank you. That is my take on this.
All right, thank you. It's valuable indeed, and have a great day, sir.
Thank you.
0814-335-9292. Jungle justice is beyond just lynching people by the road. It goes to those siphoning public funds, those giving substandard projects instead of the standard ones that were contracted. They were contracted for. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Okay, call us back. 0814-335-9292 is the number for you to dial and be part of the conversation. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and location?
Yeah, my name is Godwin. Godwin from Abuja.
Okay, Godwin from Abuja. Go ahead and make your contribution.
Yeah, I came across a video that was circulating yesterday in Makodi, whereby someone was burned by Jungle Justice. We heard of Jungle Justice for a few days ago from Edo State, whereby 16 people were burned.
Yeah, several issues. Yeah, several issues.
Yeah, I had. So now the system has failed us. Had failed us as everybody. 90% of call that are coming across here, they are complaining about this the system, the Nigeria security personnel. They failed us. So, but we cannot be taking this jungle justice all this while. We have to work on ourselves, and all the security personnel should also work to make sure that all those things have not happened. So thank you very much, bro.
All right. Thank you very much, Godwin, for calling in, and do have a great day.
You're welcome, sir.
0814-335-9292 is the number to call and be part of the program. I'm receiving your text messages and WhatsApp messages already, so when it's time, I'm going to read them. Keep sending. When it's time, I'm going to read them out.
Ben Peace from Una Junction.
Ben who?
Ben Peace from Una Junction.
Okay, Ben, go ahead.
We control the people on top before all these things we stop. All these people, as on the other color, like an statement that people will be contracted and they will do anyhow. But all these things, they look at them like they are nothing. But when they come on and do something, and we talk many things, and they should stop doing these things, just stop doing this. If they not stop from that side, how come these guys will stop? Some of them are graduates, and they are standing, they don't have anything doing. We see them going up and down. How can they not, how can they control themselves? Some will not control themselves. They will go into all these things. And if somebody, there's an issue that I heard yesterday that a young guy went into somebody's room and played with the child. And when they took this guy to police station, within a few hours, this guy was out. And without informing this person that took this guy to the police station, and when they called the IPO and they said that the guy fell into the say, that's what they call it. Only thing that we confess is to take jungle justice when our police and security.
0814-335-9292. We take few more calls and then the analyst in the house would respond. Hello?
Yes, hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Ibudu Tenenge.
All right, Tenenge Ibudu, go ahead.
From Big Soup.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the major reasons for jungle justice is, although I am not in support of it, I condemn it with strong terms and in totality, is because of the security apparatus and the judiciary have failed the people. You arrest somebody doing a crime, report to the security, tomorrow you see that person go roaming about the street. Then these people that, okay, caught this person in that act, they pointed at him, this person is now released, tomorrow he will now mobilize people to come and kill this person. Now this is one of the reasons why people go into jungle justice. If the security system is very effective, the judiciary is equally very effective. I think it wouldn't have been up to the matter of we talking this on the radio. You are caught stealing bike, you are being prosecuted, taken to prison, serve the wake-up call that the judiciary to wake up. That's welcome.
All right, I think at this point we should take our pause on the calls and then allow the guest in the studio to respond to some of the issues, and then if time will allow us, we'll still take more calls later. All right, Dr. Wanshe and Barrister Amatimi, you all heard what the callers say to see if they had a meeting to just. The issue before us is jungle justice and how respond to quickly before we proceed.
Yes, you see, most of the calls were not about, they're not actually questions. They are actually reiterating some of the things that we've already mentioned here. And you see, the most recurrent issue that raised by most of these callers are the issue of premature release from the court or from the police. So we need to do something about that. And right now, as a matter of fact, in Benue State here, you know that the courts are on strike. The judicial staff, they are on strike now. And the court being on strike now, what does that mean? Now somebody is supposed to be not be arrested and detained for more than 24 hours, at most 48 hours. And then you have arrested somebody of committing an offense. The person is in the police custody now. And then the courts are on strike. So where do you arraign this person? The police cells are filling up. They are filling up. So how would the police handle this kind of situation? So you find that they are managing the way that they know if somebody is arrested for rape, to come to National Human Rights Commission and give us details of that particular incident so that we can follow it up and ensure that it goes all the way to court and the right processes are followed.
Okay, but where is your office located?
Our office is located on number 2B Jonathan Crescent, the opposite INEC office. Okay. You'll find our office there.
Okay.
Yes, so you can come there, please. Give us more details so that we can follow up on this issue. We've been following up on cases. Anytime somebody is committing an offense, I know that this person is supposed to face the course of justice, and then every case or that goes to court, that person has to continuously be detained. Yes, some cases go to court and bail is officially given to that person. That person is out on bail. So everywhere in the world, bail is given. Bail is recognized, but it's not every offense that is bailable. If an offense a person has committed an offense and is available and bring up those issues to provide that oversight, it is our duty to monitor the police detention facilities, to also monitor cases, how they go in the court, here to ensure that justice is done. So if you have any problem with how a case went, how you reported an issue and how it went, please meet the National Human Rights Commission. We can follow it up on that. It is our own duty for that. And then, of course, the other issues there people are bringing up there, trying to compare the stealing of public funds, misappropriation of public funds, as another form of jungle justice. I don't know, but you see, we have to define jungle justice for what it is. It is that barbaric act, those barbaric acts that take place on our streets, that when an offense, a perceived offense has taken place, and those persons carry out what they believe is the best form of justice against those persons, which involves violence normally, and is results in abuse of that person's right. We are condemning those acts in the studio here. We are committing a bike. The right processes should have been done. And I appreciate what some of the callers here said. One caller particularly noted that in the course of carrying out jungle justice, you may miss out carrying out a proper investigation, whereby a deeper investigation would have revealed more that crime down to its roots. And some of those persons that are involved in this jungle justice are criminals themselves, and they're trying to silence somebody who knows much about them. So when the opportunity comes up, they are involved in the beating, they're involved in the killing. So we should.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Wanshe. Over to you, Barrister Martin. You heard the callers. Is there any?
When he spoke about the need citizens, because they exist, because the citizens exist. So when the matter is reported, it is the right of the informer to equally be briefed as to what is happening in respect of a case he has reported to the police. So situations where there is that gap in communication, it has a way of breathing that trust or mistrust in the minds of the people that the police already compromise. In fact, just like my co-panelist said, I want to correct this impression. Bail is a constitutional right of every suspect in respect of the offense you have committed, except there are certain circumstances where the court deems it fit or a law enforcement agent deems it fit that this person is a risk flight, that if admitted to bail, the person will run. The fact that you are reported someone to the police and after thorough investigation, they choose to release the person on bail, it doesn't mean that's the end of the road. So citizens must appreciate this fact, and in our crimes here, it's very common for people to be more interested in persecution than prosecution. We want to persecute people we suspect them to have committed certain offenses, as opposed to prosecuting them in court. So once someone is arraigned in court, the perception of the people that this person must go to jail, he must be convicted.
Must rot in jail.
Yes, even when there are no evidence. You know, I will give an example that became a very topical issue in the state. The case of Ochanya. This was a young lady that was being molested, raped, and all that, right? Establishing the rape or sexual harassment that took place. So the public had this notion that, once the lecturer and the son was, you need to examine the victim, if I remember very well, 24 hours. And the person need not to bath, so that you extract this evidence. But we have lot of lack of they don't even care to go to the hospital for release in the course of that sexual, unauthorized convict someone. When already the law have provided for what and what ingredients you need to establish to succeed in a particular criminal prosecution, then I think we really need to update ourselves about that, so that once a rape incident has taken place, there is what and what you need to do so that the evidence are preserved for proper investigation. Now, I think as one talked about the need to, security agencies and judicial have failed the people. That's a good. Then he advocated for effective law enforcement and judicial system. I think these two approaches, if properly harnessed, will really reduce jingle justice in our society drastically. Because if our law enforcement agents are effective, if they are responding to situations on time, if the court is dispensing justice within a very reasonable period of time, it will build the public trust in the system. It will harness all the fears the citizens have all together in one basket, and those fears will be dashed or well taken care of, so to say, when justice is done to all cases in respect of the individuals involved. When matters are delayed in our courts, it doesn't really augur well for public perception. It doesn't really augur well for the people. And it is a very disturbing trend that even we lawyers are wary of. And then someone talked about lawyers, their involvement in matters. Our rules of professional conduct, the rules of professional conduct for legal practitioners. Lawyers are ministers in a temple of justice. It is not for a lawyer to manipulate facts in the course of handling a matter for any client. It is for the lawyer to assist the court to arrive at a just and fair decision. So it is very, very unethical, and I admit that there are hair bent. It is wrong or right. So that should who still do what is right, and we will continue to do what is right. And I am of this firm opinion that if we have lawyers doing what is right in this country, largely most of our problem will be fixed, because we occupy a very sensitive position in the society, and it is when we fail in our responsibility that the society degenerates. What needs to be done should be done the way and manner it should be done, irrespective of what field you are entitled to get. We shouldn't be justifying and defending what is not under whatever umbrella or whatever technicalities or all that. It is by so doing that we'll have a decent society. I will not end my speech without sharing this experience. A lecturer of mine told us in the guys. So you may be the victim. We have been victims. Situations where they come and boggle our offices and all that. No one is safe until we have a safer society. And then someone talked about the headers, the armed headers,
who go on killing people for whatever. Okay, maybe someone has killed your cow or cattle, then report it. It is not within your powers to now go on attacking the whole community because your cattle have been slaughtered. But we used to have this community and traditional ways of settling some of these issues around us. Where, for instance, if a herder, his cattle have trampled or entered them to violent attacks and all that. If there is a wrong, two wrongs do not make a right. If someone has committed a crime, you committing another crime because you want to respond does not justify the process, the laid down procedure of following that, to get redress. It is by so doing that we'll have a decent and a more safer society for all of us.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Martin. Okay, from our inbox here, is it an offense to write CBM or EFCC on bags of goods because boys, beat somebody for writing such? Okay, my name is Victor from Otukpo. All right. We have this one here, says jungle justice has become prevalent because there is a trust deficit in society today as regards our law enforcement agencies and judiciary. Unless these very weak institutions, or that's according to you, are strengthened, we would be going round a vicious cycle. Gabriel Nyilo from Honor Okupaya Extension, Makudi. Good morning, Fanen. My name is Ube Kingsley. I'm from Ikbayongo. The guests are condemning taking laws into the hands of citizens. Okay, sometimes when these people are arrested after 2 days, you see them outside. Okay, my question is, what should the society do to over all these problems? I think we have addressed that in the program. For me, I'm not supporting jungle justice because Section 33 of Nigerian Constitution says that every person has the right to life and no one shall be deprived intentionally of his life. Thanks. I am Jonah Benjamin from Nakagwe West. Thank you, Benjamin. We also have this one, Ibudute Nenge from BSUTH. The human rights is equally highly involved in this. I had a case of military men beating me. Asked Dr. Joe, what did they do? Was justice served? They connived with the military and thwarted all my efforts. This is a true life story. All right. This one is a crime is despicable, though it is right when we seek to know why people commit crime and what the law requires by the law enforcement agencies before any action. Good morning, the panel. Thanks to Fanen Kuanu, Otsua Isaac from Goma. All right, thank you very much. And then this one says, good morning. I am Ashwe Raymond from Taraku. Although jungle justice is not good in some minor crimes, but imagine when some people claim to be passengers and book a bike at a point, they will kill the rider. Unfortunate for them, they were caught while running away with the bike. I would prefer to be jailed when I see my brother's corpse than sending that person to police. All right. Thank you very much for your messages. And then on Facebook page, Jungle Justice spreads fear, fuels hatred, and destroys trust in lawful systems. True justice is found in courts, not on streets. No society grows through violence. Let's stop the cycle of vengeance. Speak up, act right, and say no to jungle justice. Justice should heal, not kill. A civilized nation must choose law over lawlessness. The time to end. I am Igbeta Michael from BSU Makudi. To won't be lazy, but our youth prefer short ways. Okay, thank you. Apostle Lois says jungle justice doesn't just happen before jungle justice is carried out on those people confess to those crimes. All right, thank you, Apostle, for your. We are almost there. So at this point, Dr. Joseph, I would want you to give us your final words on the program as we are totally out of time.
Well, as a final word, I want to say that self-defense is right. Self-defense is your right. But taking the law into your hands is not your right. And carrying out any form of revenge or anger, dissemination on dispassion on a person is not your right. So report your cases, and I want to say to the members of the public, let us hold the system accountable. Let us together with National Human Rights Commission, hold the system accountable. Report cases to the police. Do not just report cases to the police. Follow them up. Put in the involve the Human Rights Commission. We will help you to follow up your cases. We will help you to see that justice is done. To the traditional rulers too, I want to say that the witch doctor is not enough evidence that someone has committed an offense. And even if you consider it so, do not take the law into your hands. Do not bring about any form of degrading treatment on an individual because he is perceived or he or she is perceived to have committed a certain recent offense.
All right. Thank you. We're totally out of time. If not, I wanted to ask you, somebody just indicted you that he reported a case to your office and he mentioned your name, that you did not give him the justice desired, but maybe we'll talk about that some other time. All right. Barrister Amatimi, your final words. Just 30 seconds.
Right. In order to address the root causes of jingle justice in our society, we must strengthen our formal law enforcement agency and justice system. And then we must promote community engagement and dialogue. And lastly, then we will need to foster trust in our institution by communicating, by reaching out to people and then addressing their concerns. And by working together, we'll be promoting a just and an equitable society for all.
Thank you very much. That's Barrister Timothy Amatimi, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for your time on the program.
So before we go, can I know the name of that person so I will be able to get the perspective of what he or she is?
Okay, that's Igbudu from BSUTH. Maybe I will talk that after the microphone. Let me try and hand over. Okay. All right, so thank you very much. Head of Investigations, National Human Rights Commission, Benue State Office, Dr. Joseph Wanshe, thank you very much for coming. And then my name is Fanen Kwanu. Appreciating you so much for being part of the program. Join us on Wednesday for another interesting edition of Perspectives. Good morning.